Hey guys, so I know it's been a while since I made a new video, so here's the latest one after all the stuff I went through. And for this one, there's not really much to say about like how to play a certain champ and stuff, but this one is more about a comparison between how a higher elo player plays and how a lower elo plays. Now, usually, when we determine if someone is high elo or low elo, we usually determine it based on rank. In some cases, that's not that valuable because there's certain people who are in rank who are more skilled than people who are ranked and vice versa. So, in some sense, it's basically comparing people who actually play rank. Basically, a comparison between the lower elo players who play rank and the higher level players who play rank. And of course, that's not always 100% true, but it should be for the most cases. Now, usually the question is, how do you compare people of different elos? Well, in some ways, usually you compare people in different elos by like skill level. Sometimes you compare them based on like how they do in certain matchups or how well they do play. But sometimes that's kind of inconsistent because I know like people who are in lower elo sometimes could play more better than the ones in higher elo. Like I'm not talking about like being diamond 5 and the low elo player is plat 1. I'm talking about like a whole division down. But like sometimes they could like mess up in a lane match and things like that. So what I do actually consider to be a very good factor of determining whether a person is low elo is usually their decision making. Now, in that case, you're probably wondering what's decision making. So, in terms of League of Legends, decision making is basically a set of choices you make that determines like how well the game goes out. So how I'm saying how I'm comparing this is the high elo players will usually make better decisions than compared to a low elo player. And in most cases it's hard to kind of say because like there's certain games there like it's really dependent on the game. But then you play a certain amount of games, you kind of notice like who's actually at us, like who's actually good and who's actually probably not good. Like in that sense. Anyways, guess I could fast forward a bit. So one thing to note is that high elo player they tend to watch the map more because they understand that the game is based on like what happens around the map and not really based on themselves. The low elo player they tend to not watch the map more because they're so focused on their micro play compared to the macro play. So I guess here. So in this case, a bunch of people got picked off. But then, here's the thing. Usually you're not supposed to pick a fight here. However, there's a few things to note. One is like this side has kind of the higher health overall compared to them, and we're pretty poke based in the sense. And the reason why we don't want to back off from this is because of Dragon. Like, if they do charge right at us, we are probably going to just kite them or back off in some sense. But then, if they don't charge us, then we have to kind of bait them and stuff. So in this sense, like notice like how, well, this, by the way, this is me. How the Malzahar is just like poking. Well, there's this flash, but then he wants to make a play. However, like I don't really commit to it because I know like they're gonna do something. So I'm just trying to like dish out as much damage as possible because I know first of all that the dragon is up. Usually, another thing is like when at higher elo you tend to watch timers like there's the dragon timer, there's the baron timer, and then there's turrets. These things are what are more valuable than kills usually, at least except until the later end of the game where you don't want to die anyways. And then even more smaller stuff that they keep track of is the blue buff and the red buff, because keeping track of the blue buff and red buff allows one to like see the rotation of junglers, and that's really important because the jungler makes their important decisions on who to gank and who to like snowball. So the reason why I poke them out, despite the Caitlyn saying back off, is because we want to contest for dragon. We have to note that a good bunch of them are low. Like Kha'Zix is barely living. Victor got poked pretty hard. There's two healthy people, but Caitlyn is already on her way. So we let the Yi take the dragon while Thresh and Jace play cover fire, where they just guard Yi from getting attacked while the whole team is rotating. And this fight is already won by us due to the fact that one, they poke so low and then they don't take much to hit, and two, like we have some kind of poke against them, so they can't really like beat us out. Like if the rest of the team is not already dead, they're probably running on low health, and in this case they were all dead. It doesn't help the fact that Bard got killed while he was low from a Jace acceleration shock blast. So because all of them are dead and they have like over 10-second timers, this meter is ripe for taking. So one thing to note is lower elo are really indecisive on when to take turrets or not, because they don't understand how to close the game. One thing to note is when it's safe to take turrets, dragons, and stuff is like who is alive, what position are there. Those are pretty important when you consider what to contest. So I guess this will kind of highlight the difference between higher elo and lower elo. Just a bit. So in this sense, he catches Kha'Zix out. Xayah is over here, and this would be considered a Baron because you need the AD carry in order to deal consistent amount of damage to either brush their opposing side off the Baron or deal enough consistent damage to destroy Baron. So what usually determines whether a Baron is takeable is how much damage a team is able to do, not how much they can tank, because if they can do Baron really fast, they could usually rush it down and get away with it before the other team is able to interfere. In this case, this is kind of perfect because one, the jungler is down, so there's no smite. and 2, Xayah is on the bot lane. So in this situation, at most, we can expect a 3v5. Even if the jungler cannot fight because he has to contest for Baron, 4 of us could already fight them in order to ward them off. And secondly, I feel like our side is kind of stronger. Like Jace is 5-1 compared to their Darius is 2-4. He also has bigger items. Malzahar is a bit more ahead compared to Victor, where he has tier 2 boots, 2 completed items. Like Victor is nowhere near his power spike that he needs to be. Oh, here's the bad part. So he got the pick, and he's on his way to Baron. This is technically the correct call. But then Caitlyn is staying here. I mean, I guess this is why this is a low elo decision. Like, you need to ask yourself, if you were the Caitlyn, like, how come you're doing this? Because first of all, the whole team is rotating to Baron. If you don't notice this, then you probably should watch the map. Second of all, why are you picking a fight with a Darius? I mean, yes, their Darius is probably not ahead, but you don't have it. There's no vision in the jungle, and do you really expect that your damage would? And you're also 1 level below the Darius by the way. Do you expect to beat out the Darius in terms of damage? Like, obviously not. And in some way, you were getting CS when the whole team was like taking Baron. Really not smart decisions as a whole. And this could have potentially screwed the team over because Xayah was already coming, and in this case, it's about to become 4v4. Since we lost Caitlyn, we lack the damage. But because we played it really well, where Malzahar silence and then Yi cleans up the Darius along with Baron, it all works out well. And then we could just freely back because we already got an objective. There's no reason to chase. Another thing about low elo is they're always searching for kills. You need to find out like whether the kill is worth it or not. If it's not worth it or it's too time consuming, get back. There's no reason to do it. Hold the advantage for your team, so like you could set up another push. The fact that Caitlyn got killed here almost cost us the Baron. Like there was no reason for her to like do what she did right there. So I guess that's highlights the decision. Like overall, a better player would play with the team and watch the map to see opportunities, while a low elo will just focus on what they feel like they want. So now another call is being pushed, where the Yi is about to set up to take the buy inner, while their Thresh and their Jace stall for distraction. And Caitlyn probably should be helping push. I don't know the reason why here. While Malzahar is to kind of lurk around the area to catch out rotations from this area that easily transition from the inner turret. If you're on the other side, by the way, you should realize like if people are over here, there should be this like line which constitute not safe area anymore, because people are here like literally not safe. Literally. Because if you have no vision here, even though this is the easiest one, you're mainly going to get caught. Like a better way to rotate would probably be through this area, all the way behind the turret. There's no way they're going to catch you behind the turret. And even if they do, this area has many escape routes if they try to catch you off here. And it's it's not really their territory yet, especially since it's not worth it. But anyways, we'll go on. So because their Kazakhs messed up his jump and also did that, like technically, as the Malzahar messed up too, but he also messed up, which got picked. Like Kazakhs found out firsthand that this push was not safe due to the fact that he got caught. But it doesn't really matter because we're going to get the push anyways. So while Thresh is over there, I mean, it's understandable that he's trying to play as distraction, but in some sense it's not necessarily. Like, we should just keep pushing, honestly, because... Okay, how's it? So Kazakhs got killed, and we're pushing the inner. Use their called a void to disengage, which gives us slow because we're rallies. And at this point, we should keep pushing because we already found that Victor is here, and the rest of the team is kind of right here. So they're out of position if we want to contest with this turret. In addition, we have Baron buff. Like Caitlyn is here, Malzahar is here, Master Yi was here. Even if Victor tried to defend, he's literally fighting a 3v1 against a pretty fed Yi, and like there's not much he can do. Like his whole team is out of position, Xayah is low, and Jace could just poke them out in some sense. So you notice that the Caitlyn comes to help. So she already had the position over here. She was right here, but instead she has to rotate the long way because she sees a fight going on, but instead it's sort of a disengage. As you can see, Jace is already like getting the hell out. He does not want to fight the 3v1 at the moment until Caitlyn shows up. But because by the time she arrives, it's already too late. Like there's no reason to be there. On the other hand, like Master Yi and Malzahar are already in the push because they know with the lack of anybody defending here and the fact that Kazakh still has a decent death timer, there's nothing going to be stopping them. Even if Victor shows up, Master Yi could probably still kill him. And then Caitlyn asks for help. Just to let you know, if you ask for help without looking at the map and nobody's there, it's kind of useless because obviously nobody's going to help. But and now here's the interesting part. So notice at this point, Master Yi and in some sense Malzahar are picking the fight. So you're probably gonna ask, like, why pick the fight now? Why didn't you pick it before? And Caitlyn and most likely Thresh would not have died. Well, the reason why we picked the fight now instead of before, like, one, we had Baron, and when you have Baron, you need to take the most easiest objective. The easiest objective is this turret and this inhib. Even if we were to fight them, the most that we're gonna do is probably make them run away, and they have a pretty good escape route. Like they could escape from here, and then anybody with dashes, they could probably get out from here, and then just run off, and then they will reach here, and that's just a waste of time, especially since we have Baron. So not a very good decision. Like the fact that we have Baron, if we fight proper 5v5, they will never give us this fight. But then in this case, the reason why this is good is, first of all, they're bringing the fight to us. Like they're coming to fight us, even though Master Yi is 12-4 and well, the Malzahar, I'm not that fed, but like we have the position. At this point, we realize that yeah, they probably burn a bunch of stuff. And this is pretty much easy picking. Like the reason, like yeah, we might be able to do similar results, but we have to chase them down. But the fact that we already got their inhib, our main mission is accomplished, we could just fight them if they come to us, which they did. They came, Victor got picked off, Zaya got picked off, and then Bart got picked off. I guess in the sense, you're probably wondering, well, what's the point of showing you this? Well, like even though like the Caitlyn in this sense was making very poor decisions, the team still capitalized. Well, it's partially because our team as a whole was so much better, and because we were so much better, we could play the game despite the fact, even with regards that Caitlyn wasn't that great. So because we're that high, we're just going to just take everything. In this case, I flash. I mean, maybe it wasn't necessary, but it's a precaution. Like, things that low elo do is they're not very cautious. They think if they feel like they could get away with something, they would get away, but then they don't really take into account the situation. Like, even if they killed me at that point, it didn't really matter, but in a higher elo game where Baron was open, or the game was really close, or if we had an exposed inhib, we might have lost quite a bunch of stuff. Now the final decision is let you know. So their team is down 2 inhibs, but it doesn't mean that they have no presence in the top lane. In fact, Kha'Zix shows up. So meanwhile, Caitlyn is just by herself, like farming up. This, by the way, is a really poor, not only poor decision, but it's a really selfish decision, which is why, like, if you're low elo and you don't have good map awareness, you should get a scrying orb. It's the fact that, one, you're not really that ahead. You're 4, 6, 10. I mean, I don't know if that score is decent for AD carry, but most of the AD carries in higher elo would probably be crying in some sense. Like, it's not a good... regardless of the score or not, like, it basically says you're probably not performing really well. Secondly, you're against... I mean, even though the Kha'Zix isn't doing that well, it's believed that the Kha'Zix could still one-shot you due to the fact that he has a decent amount of damage, first of all, and like he has a jump, he has an invis, so everything to assassinate an AD carry. Like, you should never be pushing so far off. At this point, if you're Caitlyn, you should understand, like, besides Bard on a solo, everybody else could probably kill you based on the situation, based on performance-wise. Notice how, like, he was invisible, so he didn't know when to back off or not. He still wanted to pick a fight. When it was invisible and then you just got away, you should just run. Just run. But because of that, burn 2 summer spells, and you're still picking the fight and using a like your ult like at close range. This is just poor decision. But the fact that I kind of figured that the Caitlyn was pushing like that and people will come, I came to help her. But note that if it was a higher elo situation, Caitlyn would probably be dead. And in some sense, you could say, well, you got 2 kills. Yes, we did, but like Caitlyn almost died for it. As if it was a smarter player, like they would never pick the fight by themselves. They should instead wait for rotation and move as a team. This is a thing that low elo players do not do. They tend to think that the game revolves around them, and in fact it doesn't. Like, it clearly doesn't. Like, if you're behind, you should understand the best hope to win the game is not to make sure the team revolves around you, but play with the team. Otherwise, you're probably gonna like get a bunch of losses that are really unnecessary. So I guess to sum up this episode in comparison, like higher elo and lower elo is higher elo, they usually think of their bigger picture of the game, where it's not always about kills. It's more about getting certain objectives that will snowball into taking the next stage, such as dragons, turrets, which give gold like stats, compared to kill, which probably only gives gold and some EXP. Also the fact that you might have to chase one right away. In addition, higher elo player, they have to kind of like know like their positioning compared to other people's positioning and what objectives are safe based on like where everybody's around the map. Alright, I guess that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to make another one. Probably not soon, but in the future. If you have any comments, feel free to put them or suggestions. Thank you.